It's another primary day, and we've got a special guest. The breakdown starts now. Welcome to the breakdown. I'm Tara Setmayer. The Rick Wilson will be back with us on Thursday. However, tonight, joining me in just a little bit, the one and only former Republican National Committee Chairman and friend of the show, Michael Steele, will be joining me. We'll have another edition of Michael Steele After Dark in a little bit. But first, there's a lot to talk about. Just since last week, holy smokes, there has been a lot. We had the search warrant revealed. We found out the basic charges that they are looking at with Donald Trump, what the crimes are. We heard like Espionage Act stuff in there. It's been wild. We also have a big primary happening today. The last of the impeachment Republicans are being primary tonight. That is Liz Cheney out in Wyoming, and she's probably going to lose by a lot, which is just infuriating, but says a lot about where the Republican Party is today. We also have Sarah the Twit Palin up in Alaska. There's a ranked choice voting method there. It's new for Alaska that they've incorporated this. And so that's happening up there where Sarah Palin's probably going to make it through in the primary. But whether she wins the whole thing, that remains to be seen. But could you imagine listening to her in 1 minute on the House floor if she's a congresswoman? God help us. So we've got that we're watching and monitoring. But because it is Tuesday, what do we always do on Tuesday? We do Last Week in the Republican Party. So let's roll it.
For too long, the requirements to be a teacher have been too rigid.
And if you don't understand this, you're an idiot. If you don't understand this, you're stupid.
Democratic Party is possessed by preternatural evil.
I believe that God gave us another chance to rally again against the dark forces of an evil Biden empire.
Vote 1, 2, 3 times, whatever.
I think you should be canceled for blasphemy.
Wherever you are hiding, Barack Obama, we see your hands behind it all.
You know, we're the first honest family who's actually ever gone into Washington, D.C.
My staff always says, whatever you do not say balls.
Folks, we're not saying that these people are demons. We're saying that they're being used by demons.
And that's something that, you know, frankly, you people would never understand because you're not eccentric and you're not a genius.
You're a witch. And I only wish that, you know, we were living 200, 300 years ago so we could burn you at the stake.
How much trouble is your former boss in?
So I don't think he's in trouble at all.
I'll tell you what he's got. I don't know if you heard of this, but he's got BDE. Anybody know what that means?
I think Mar-A-Lago is a pretty safe place.
White men are the most persecuted identity in America. And that's a bold statement to make.
How you all doing? I'm Tina 40, and I'm running for Congress against AOC.
He's got the same kind of BDE that President Trump has.
White men are passed over for any kind of promotion or even for being hired in the job place because they have to fill their minority quotas.
So guys, justice isn't fair in this country.
I'm right about this. I'm right about this. You're wrong. You're wrong. I'm right about this, all right? I'm right about this.
I will be the biggest pain in the ass Joe Biden's ever experienced.
As always, my friend Michael Steele, welcome. The summary is just...
So why you open me up with a whole can of stupid? got these dumbass morons. Yeah, hi,
those
Tara.
Are your people. Those are your folks, Michael, because you're still a Republican.
They're still my people. You know, I feel a little bit like Moses. You know, at a certain point, he kind of looked out at the crowd and went, "What the hell's wrong with you?"
Right. Yeah.
A golden calf? Really? So yeah, that's kind of where things.
That's not that far off, right? They had the
No,
golden Trump at the CPACs,
Well, of
wheeling
course.
them around. I mean, listen, that Carrie Lake is something else. She really gets on my nerves. And I called her a Trump fembot. And this whole thing of her thinking that she's cool and hip, talking about BDE, which the young folks who listen to the music know what that actually stands for. And no, it couldn't be any more opposite from that.
It's because somebody told her that.
That's right.
Carrie
She was
Lake ain't no damn BDE from DEB.
Well, it's definitely not. It's definitely not the original meaning of BDE from the song. It's more like balls deficiency energy, is what I get from both Trump and DeSantis, which is why they act like such asses. But that's a whole nother conversation. Let's stay with Florida, because there's a lot going on at that little Mar-a-Lago down there. Last week you and I we were kvetching about how people were complaining that Merrick Garland should come out and say something. Now the DOJ is not transparent enough. It's like nobody's satisfied here. The guy actually went in, pulled a checkmate chess move on Donald Trump, and people were still bitching and complaining about it. Then he finally comes out on Thursday, says what he needs to say. The warrant speaks for itself on Friday when the government unseals it. And here we are now. And we're looking at Donald Trump having a meltdown day after day after day, changing his story 5 different times about what actually happened there, and still lying his ass off about the classified information, what he's doing with it, and what's actually happening with this entire investigation.
So, Miss Tara, we have gone from show us the warrant, to, all right, show us the affidavit. Show us the affidavit. Look, the reality of it is they tried to bluff their way into this. And the Attorney General called their bluff.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, okay, you want the warrant? There you go.
Yep.
So as soon as they got the warrant and, that little thing called national security and that other little thing called Espionage Act started gaining, relevance and was peppered throughout everybody's conversation, they now want to go to show us what's in the affidavit because we need to see the basis on which. Now, they know, and I hope I'm not wrong, that the judge who's making this decision come Thursday will recognize that they too should not fall prey to these punks and get punked. They know, this judge knows what the legal requirements are, and that the information that is contained in the affidavit probably touches on a lot of national security, one, and number two, touches on individuals inside Trump world who may have said, shh, guess what? If you go to the third bedroom in the back and you go around the corner and you lift the lid, there's a safe. And in that safe, started telling some stories.
Right.
Now, the judge may say, okay, let's call their bluff a little bit, Tara, and we'll give you the affidavit. But every page is redacted.
Right. They could do that, right? They could release it and just basically redact the whole thing.
They could redact. So you're getting a page that says the car window hot.
Here you go. It says TV, woman, man, camera, flight risk.
That's it. That's what it says.
Just by the way, LP, I think we're putting out some swag with that because we put out a meme because we used to sell shirts that had TV, man, camera, that whole thing.
Oh, dude, gotta
so
do it.
They just flipped it. So guys, go to the LP website. I think it's up there.
No, I highly recommend that we get that for fall attire. Absolutely.
Yes.
No, but that's where they are, Tara. And so, the judge could say, okay, we'll release it, but I'm just going to redact the security issues and the names of individuals who the FBI is currently working with to secure the evidence that they need.
Right. It's important for people to understand this. Like the affidavit, that's basically the document that was prepared, that went to the judge for the predicate the judge to issue the search warrant. That lays out the whole thing. There's an active investigation going on. So it's highly unusual to release the document, the affidavit that went into the search warrant while the investigation is going on, particularly when it has to deal with national security. Like,
and
it
that is
almost
so
never
important.
happens for a reason.
That is so important, and cannot emphasize that enough to the LP viewers, is that which Tara just said is critically important, because you have to understand how this process works.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't show up. See, a lot of people and a lot of Republicans want you to go off on the FISA warrant and the one FISA warrant that they cut some corners on. But guess what? Their ass got caught.
Right. That's right. That's right.
So that's the problem when you cut the corners and you fake the warrant and you lie about this and you fake that. Because when you do the investigation, guess what? You got to back up what's in the warrant.
That's right.
And you got to be able to say that when I told you, Your Honor, X, Y, and Z, we went out and guess what we found? X, Y, and Z.
But
if
Michael,
I say that we found X, Y, and Z and I only find X, guess what?
You're in trouble.
That judge is going to be pissed.
Yes.
Your boss, who in this case is the Attorney General, is going to be way pissed.
And you could lose your job, really. I mean, this is
Very
the thing.
well
They don't
could
play
lose your
around. They don't play around with that kind of stuff.
It's not an easy thing. And you got, and in this case, as Merrick Garland himself told us, he personally signed off on this.
Right.
Which means he's a former federal judge.
Yes. He gets it.
Republicans want to play us for stupid.
Right.
Please do not take a stupid pill today. Avoid it. The downside is far worse than you think.
Yeah. I mean, except that the Republican Party has just turned into the Nino Brown of stupid pills here. They have just, it's ridiculous how much stupid is going around. And it's not just stupid, it's dangerous. Right? This doxing of FBI agents, the FBI agents that were involved in the search and stuff, and this and Fox News back to their normal form. We thought for a sliver there that they were starting to turn on Donald Trump, but oh no, they went right back to their normal form. Except I did see something very interesting, and not sure if you saw this too, but did you hear Laura Ingraham actually make some comments about, maybe we're just exhausted with Donald Trump and it's time to move on. Have you seen that?
I have. And
wait, let's play it because I don't think everybody else has, because I didn't believe it till I saw it.
Good.
Donald Trump's been a friend of mine for 25 years. I'm always very open about this on my show. We'll see whether that's what the country wants. I mean, what the country I think is so exhausted. They're exhausted by the battle. Maybe it's time to turn the page if we can get someone who has all Trump's policies, who's not Trump.
So good. So good. And just put a capstone on that. She's so full of shit.
Oh, she's
because at the end of the day, Laura is saying what Laura's saying now because the Murdochs have told her that's what she's got to say. Fox is making the break. They're separating. They're cutting the umbilical cord. Whatever analogy you want to draw, they're making a move away. And they found their pretty boy next door, who they can dress up like a little Ken doll and have him stick their hand up his ass and have them repeat exactly what they need to say without offending people, making the women go ooh and ah because he's all that in a bag of chips, and just play this white nationalism game as safely as they can. And again, I'm all about getting duped and stooped into something that you realize afterwards, I mean, this is the worst roofie in the world. We're talking here, all right? It's the worst roofie in the world because when you wake up in the morning, trust me. So that's all that is. Tara,
Well,
you know it, I know it.
Well, of
I'm
course.
hoping the country knows it.
Of course. I mean, I think also we have to remember that Fox is in the middle of a major defamation lawsuit over the Dominion voting system thing. That is not a joke. Okay, it's like a couple $2 billion. It's not a joke. So they have to be careful, even though you heard all of this crazy, and we're not the only ones, but a bunch of people put the montage together of the absolute meltdown freak out of their opinion show hosts last week over this whole Mar-a-Lago search. But yet you still had a couple people come out, like Steve Doocy, for God's sakes, came out and was like actually challenging the Republicans who were going after the FBI. I was like, Steve Doocy?
Understand what's going on. Having worked there for a few years, understand what's going on. That's the mantra from on high. It starts with the news.
Right.
So you get the news guy to get a congressman or get some Republican on the air, and that's the frontal first pushback.
That's a good point.
It starts the pushback at 6 a.m. from 6 to 9 a.m. And then by the time you get to 8 to 10 p.m., you have a whole, you see the flow. You see the flow. You know you will have reached nirvana when Tucker Carlson comes out and he starts his whole, well, maybe Trump oughta, but that's the play.
You see what he started to do, because it looks like the writing's on the wall that we're heading for something. The likelihood of Trump being indicted, I think, just went up tenfold after what happened last week. A lot of us were like, we're not so sure. Now we're like, oh, okay. Right. Merrick Garland is capable of saying, hold my beer. So, as Rick Wilson said last week, but it's Tucker Carlson is now laying the groundwork for an indictment. Of course, they're going to indict him. That's because it's the Democrat-run, witch hunt Department of Justice. So, when they indict him, in preparation for when they indict him, to try to run interference and just discredit it.
That's very important. That's very, very important. That is the bait and switch mechanism that they put in place. So they come out and they say, of course he's going to be indicted.
Right.
Of course he's going to be indicted.
Right.
Okay. So why would you say that? Because what I'm about to say next, I want you to believe.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And the goal is, because they don't have a Bill Barr who can tell the country what to think about something before they read it, see it, or hear it.
Mm-hmm.
They do that. That's what Tucker's for. Tucker's playing that role where he's going to get out there and he's going to say, of course they're going to indict Donald Trump, but you need to understand, when they do, this is what it means. And so to sort of poison that well as much as they possibly can. So the indictments that you talk about come out, you'll have a portion of the population going, well, this is just nothing more than a witch hunt. We knew this was going to happen, yada, yada, yada.
This is how we got here. And this is how
right. Paul Revere fuckery. I like that.
That's great, Sam. Shout out to Sam who does our
way to go, Sam. You just summed up my comment for me perfectly.
God, that's amazing. I forgot even what I was gonna say. It's funny. So because of all of this, right? So we've got Trump making shit up. And you've got Fox News trying to lay the predicate now for preparing people to for a possible indictment and then discrediting it. But how we got here is that they've been doing this for years, which is how you got to Republicans going out there talking about defund the FBI and going after law enforcement, because they have chipped away at any trust in normal institutions. They think they're illegitimate, and that to me is a recipe for absolute disaster. That's how you fall into anarchy here, and which is how you get January 6th. But anyway, speaking of January 6th and other players involved there, not only did we have all of this fallout from Mar-a-Lago, and we have, the DNI being asked now to give an assessment of what this means with Trump holding on to classified documents. Has this been damaging? Have sources and methods been burned? We don't know what the hell he's been doing with this information. So that's curious. But we also have Rudy Giuliani. Giuliani's in big trouble. He's a target down there in Georgia. I think, I mean, I don't know if he survives this, honestly. I don't know if he ever makes it. He's in big trouble.
He is. No, he is. Rudy is in trouble. And because Rudy is in trouble, so is Trump. Mm-hmm. And that is because Rudy was not the mayor of New York that we remember during the time of Donald Trump. He wasn't
That's
that
for
Rudy,
sure.
right? He was someone who did Donald Trump's bidding, and he marched to Donald Trump's orders. And so the question for Rudy becomes, what do they know about what I did and how I did it? And so it opens up a real can of worms for him, because it does track. It goes to what Michael Cohen has said for many years now.
Yes.
That nothing in Trump world happens without Donald Trump's imprimatur on it. You don't act independent of Donald Trump in his world. So you're Rudy Giuliani legal counsel. You are not out here just going, I'm going to go out here and I'm going to say this. When I come back, I'll tell him what I said.
Right.
That's not how this works.
That's right.
That's not how it works. So whether
which is why he's been trying to fight testifying down there in Georgia. And he's lost at every turn, and now he has to testify
go under
this week.
oath. He can't go under oath. That's
He's about
the problem.
to. He's about to. But let me tell you this: the internet always wins. There is some. I mean, it can be a sewer, but it can also be a treasure trove of just wit. Somebody said that to be prepared for Rudy Giuliani to drink the fifth. He's not going to plead the fifth. He's going to drink a fifth. I mean, for those who know, Rudy Giuliani likes to have a little good time with the alcohol. But
look, back in the day, I remember spending a little bit of time with Rudy at the club.
Was it on the jobs?
That Rudy no longer exists. So
yeah, we used to call that the jobs and opportunity tour.
Yeah.
That was our code for those kinds of clubs.
Yes,
but anywho, you know who else? Alan Weisselberg. Remember him?
Yeah.
Donald Trump's chief financial officer for like 40 years of the Trump organization. Well, he just pled guilty to a tax fraud case, and he could face 5 months in prison, but he's still not giving up Trump, it seems.
And he won't.
That's
no one understood that about Weisselberg. Trump has done so much for this man.
Yeah.
There's
put his
no way
grandkids
in
through
hell
college.
he's going to turn on him.
I know.
Not to mention the fact, Trump is not loyal to anybody, but Trump is loyal to him.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to understand why that was, because both men held each other by the balls.
They're tiny little. You mean with one hand?
Well, no, one hand for one and one hand for the other. They look like that.
Yeah, they were giving off BDE, ball deficiency energy.
What's he doing? What? I don't understand. So yeah, but so Weisselberg knows Trump paid for his kids' college and health care, dealt with
apartments, clothes,
He's not turning. Not to mention on the back end, I would not be surprised. Just like that scene in The Godfather when they bring in what's his name's brother from Italy.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, I'll do what I need to do. You take care of my family.
Yep. That's
5
true.
months. In 5 months.
That ain't shit.
Where's he? He'll be back home.
Yeah, he's going to go to Club Fed anyway for that. You know what I mean? I mean, let's be honest here. He's not exactly going to Attica. But it's just remarkable. I don't understand these people and their loyalty, and Trump's not loyal back to them. But whatever. I hope it was worth it for him.
But Trump took. There was something about this guy because he was the keeper of all the secrets.
Yes.
Not only did he know where the bodies were buried, he knew how they were buried. He knew what they were buried with.
Mm-hmm.
He knew who buried them.
Right. He knew who bought the shovel and where they got the money for the shovel.
Right. So,
so
he, you do not rat him out. You do not dangle him out there like that. And as long as he knows you're going to take care of my wife and my kids, and I don't have to worry about anything.
Yeah. Well,
I'll do 5 months for you.
Here's the thing, though. I don't know that there are people that are that loyal in Trump's current circle politically right now.
No.
Politics is different, right?
Politics is different.
And of course, the Lincoln Project has been fucking with Trump because we know how to do that with the psyops that we do. And last week we had Insider before we knew there was actually a snitch that told them where the feds where to go.
This commercial,
this
is so damn good.
So we have a follow-up. That one was called Insider. This one is called Outsider. It's the follow-up, part 2.
We get it, Donald. You hate us.
To the Losers Project.
And hey, we're not your biggest fans either. But there's one thing you know. We've never lied to you. In a funny way. We're the only people you could trust. We told you that you'd lose, and you did.
But you didn't listen. Now you're losing.
That Mike Pence would stab you in the back on January 6th, and he did.
He's backing away from your train wreck.
How Mitch and Kevin were using your name for money and power, and they are.
Mitch McConnell's Washington consultants are making big money using your name.
And we told you Ron DeSantis was coming for you.
He's making it his Republican Party.
And now he thinks he's bigger than you.
You've probably heard this before, but it was smaller than we expected.
Now we're telling you the truth again.
And there's no one you can trust. No one.
They're turning on you. All of them. We tell you we're sad for you. But like we said before, we always tell you the truth.
It's driving him crazy, Michael. He went nuts last week when he saw the Insider ad, because of course it's playing up in Bedminster where he is, and been following him around. And now, he made some comments about LP, and so of course we had to respond in kind.
Oh my God, that's just too funny. I told Rick, I said that last one, the best part of that ad for me, visually stunning, it did everything, but it was the woman with the whisper.
The whisper.
Which, oh my God, she was so maniacal,
yes.
So sinister. I was like, yeah.
We have a series of that. We call them the Whispers ads. And so we did many of those before during 2020. And it was time. This was a perfect opportunity to resurrect that. Because the whispers are the little digs,
It's the thing. It's the whisper is like the truth. That's the part.
Yes.
That's like, you get garroted with.
Yes. And every time you watch it again, you hear something else in the whisper. So, yes. and those ads are running in Bedminster and Mar-a-Lago. So I want to switch
for the
gears
man who likes to watch TV.
Yes, exactly. I want to switch gears for a minute because I would be remiss if we didn't talk about the primaries today. This everything that's going on between Cheney and losing in Wyoming. She's going to lose by a lot. This is really not going to be a shocker. But what is just to me remarkable, and for you as an RNC chair, you have to be watching this going, what the fuck happened? Like Liz Cheney, who was political royalty in Wyoming just a few short years ago, is now a pariah because she stood up to Donald Trump and the election lie and she actually acted like a conservative, defending the Constitution against a person who has no respect for it, which is like the ultimate definition of a conservative, and law and order as a Republican. And she is now the pariah. Unbelievable.
Well, I've given much thought to this, and I conclude that Liz Cheney could give two fucks.
It's true.
Liz Cheney tomorrow morning will be the most powerful woman in the United States of America. She certainly will be the most powerful player in Washington because every word she utters, every glance she makes, she will be sending a signal, and it will be a dagger and a dart at the GOP. Mm-hmm. There's just no doubt about it. I don't know why these geniuses, these genius men, thought that they could swap out Liz Cheney for Stefanik. Don't even know what that whole thing is about. Yeah. But I get it. Stefanik is a climber, and so she climbed. One, shut up. Two. That they thought somehow, Tara, you and I have been in this game long enough to know that the Obi-Wan Kenobi, the what is it? What's his name from the movie with the Scots? Oh, come on.
Which one?
With the Scotsman who they charred and they tore him apart. I can't.
Oh, William Wallace.
William Wallace. Thank you. Thank you. I haven't had a drink yet, so the brain is not working. But whether it's William Wallace or whether it's any of these players who stand up against the system, what in your right mind thinks that by striking them down, you make them go away?
Mm-hmm.
You make them weaker. You make them less than. That people will go, oh, well, I'll miss him. That's not going to happen with Liz Cheney. And it doesn't really matter whether Liz plots a course that will take her to the Republican primary, because she's not going to run as an independent. Y'all just need to get that out of your head.
Right.
She's not becoming a Democrat. You don't want her anyway. So if she makes that move, she'll make that move as a Republican.
Yeah.
But I don't know why they think, Tara, that somehow they've weakened her because she's not in the seat. But you know what that tells you? That tells you what they value.
Right.
That tells you what they value.
They're
They
so
value
short-sighted.
the position and the seat and the election more than the country, the principle, and the Constitution.
Yeah, it's pretty transparent. And that's been the problem. They're so short-sighted on this. They're so myopic about we have to win seats in Congress that everything else be damned. And this is a perfect example. You know, normally I'm not in, dressed like this for the show. I'm a lot more relaxed, but I just filmed a hit for Nightline. So I had to do network. So I had to be a little more swanky.
Right.
But
it's
network. It's network.
Properly attired as network.
Yes.
It's not that cable.
Yeah, right. It's network. No, ABC's Nightline, right? We were talking about Liz Cheney and what this means. And I said, let me tell you something. Liz Cheney is a fighter. She has money in the bank where she's going to run after this. She decided that this was worth it for her, and she's not going to take this lying down. Are they crazy? Now she can go after them and be the biggest thorn in the side of the Republicans and Donald Trump and be the conscience of the party, constantly out there nipping at them, reminding them of what Republicans are supposed to be, and they have to face her. And she doesn't care. And good for her. Good for her. Let it be. I'm so glad it's a woman doing that.
Yes, I'm very happy for her, but I cannot help but recall the similarity with her and my experience at the RNC, where by December of 2009, I had pretty much decided I was ready to blow it all up. I remember on my press guy, I'm going to call a press conference and I'm taking all this shit down right now. I'm just taking it all down. All right, there will be nothing standing by the time I'm done. Forget it. And they're like, no, Mr. Chairman, there's no. What I realized is the same thing Liz realized.
Yep.
That's what they want you to do.
Yeah. Yep.
And so instead of, saying, well, I'm not going to run again for re-election because that's what they wanted her to do. We saw Adam and others take that course. She said, I'm running.
Exactly.
Right?
Yep.
And she's run her race in such a way, to your point, she's raised more money than her opponent. She's got Democrats who are registering as Republicans to vote for her in the primary.
Whoever would have thought that?
Whoever thought that would have happened.
Right.
And she is now in the most enviable position politically of anyone in Washington, D.C., including Joe Manchin. And
That's interesting.
I think that this was typical Kevin McCarthy calculations, which means they're inept and result in
miscalculations.
Fuckery.
Right.
And so now she's going to drive that nail. And I just remember for me turning that corner and going, you know what? I'm just going to go out and win the 2010 elections.
Mm-hmm.
And I know what I'll do. I'll do a national bus tour because I was so sick of Washington. I said, I want to get out of Washington. I just don't want to be here because this is a cesspool of stupid. I can't be here. And so I got on the bus and I watched these motherfuckers just cheer me on. Oh, he's gone. Thank God he's gone. He's gone.
Yeah. Meanwhile, you were out there winning races and had a sweeping victory in 2010 for Republicans.
And the best part is they try to tarnish and say, you know, you didn't raise enough money, or you raised enough money but you didn't know how to spend it, and you did it. And all these excuses they want to make. At the end of the day, you can never take away from Liz the fact that she stood with the country.
Yes.
Right.
That's right.
That's the thing that is unquantifiable. You can't put a value on that because it's so intrinsic. It's so uniquely American what she did. And the fact that these morons didn't get that and understand that. So I'm not worried about Liz losing this election tonight.
Oh, me either.
God bless her for serving as long as she did. Now, Liz, baby, go have some fun, boo, because their asses belong to you.
That's right. And the history books will be much more kind to her than they will to them.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes. I have to hear your thoughts on Sarah Palin.
Well, okay. So first off, Sarah, you did not coin drill baby drill. So stop using it. Second, I did. Second, so seriously though,
I can't stand her. I just want you to know. I cannot stand her.
I'm going to be straight up forthright with you. I don't have that kind of animosity towards Sarah. I had the good fortune, and it was under the circumstances and the time, to spend time with her and get to know her a lot differently than most people did, particularly after the election.
Back in 2009.
Back in 2009 and 2010. And so I have a slightly different view of Sarah. Sarah saw opportunity and took advantage of it. She rode that whole Tea Party wave and did the, lipstick on a pig thing, and it worked. Okay.
But that's where my distaste for her comes from. Because back in 2008, I liked her and I thought she was a breath of fresh air. Like a lot of other people as conservatives were like, oh, okay, we have some potential here. And she did resuscitate, however you feel about the decision. She did resuscitate McCain's campaign.
She did.
Where he had no chance. She breathed new life into that. But then I looked at it like, okay, now you have an incredible opportunity to go back to Alaska, run for Senate, and be serious here. And then you could be a player. But it became apparent to me when she decided to go the reality show tabloid route that she wasn't a serious person, and that all of those things that people said about her were actually more accurate than we wanted to believe at the time. Right. Yep. And I said, oh no, And so I lost all respect for her because she went the tabloid political celebrity, third-rate celebrity route, as opposed to being a serious person with this incredible opportunity that had been handed to her to actually have an impact. So that's why I can't stand her. So all the shtick and all the other stuff, I can't with her.
I have no argument with you on any of that. I think all of that is beyond valid. I just am upfront and honest about the fact that my thoughts about her are colored by my prior relationship with her.
Fair enough.
And I was very disheartened when she decided to quit the governorship. I told her not to. I said to her it would not be a smart thing to do. Finish out your term.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I also advised that okay, you're not going to do that. Run for the Senate. I'm going to go to Fox. Okay.
Right.
Roger Ailes put $1 million in front of her, and there she is. So all of that as backdrop to what I'm about to say about this election. This is her way to get back in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because the game has new players. Marjorie Taylor Greene Lauren Boebert,
Yeah.
Carrie Lake.
Ugh. Mm-hmm.
And these women are defining where this party is. The men are basically sideshows right now. They don't really, I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene said it, this is my part, this is our party, we got this, meaning MAGA and all of that. So
I call them the MAGA mean girls.
And that actually is a very good way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I see Sarah looking at that and going, huh.
Oh, I want to be a part of that now.
No. I don't want to be a part of that.
No,
I'm going to lead that.
Lead it. Yeah.
Because
she started it.
And where it will come apart is Carrie Lake has an agenda.
Oh, sure. And so does Marjorie Taylor Greene.
So
Lauren Boebert's too stupid.
I would not be surprised if Carrie Lake finds herself is out there floating in, let's say she wins in November. God forbid she does.
God help Arizona.
But floating the whole VP thing in 24. It's a win-win for her.
Now, listen, Michael, that's going to be a cat fight because Elise Stefanik is trying to jockey for that position.
Elise is trying to jockey for that. Marjorie Taylor Greene, her psychopathy is so bad she actually believes people are saying that about her, but they're not. They're not.
No.
They're really not. So stop.
No. Lauren Boebert can't spell vice president, so
no, she can't.
So
she can't spell VP. Absolutely correct about that. But you're going to have Nome, Lake, Palin sitting there, kind of looking in.
That's a good point. It's going to be a VP cat fight.
Our friend from South Carolina, Governor. I got Christy Todd.
Oh, Nikki Haley.
Nikki Haley.
I forgot about her. She's yesterday's news. Nikki Haley can forget it. I'm sorry, but if we're going to keep the Mean Girls analogy going, she can't sit with us. They're not going to allow her to come and sit with that table.
It doesn't matter, but she doesn't. But she doesn't need to. She doesn't need to. By her own right, she has stature and position.
Does she?
Yes, she does.
So? I don't think she does anymore.
Ambassador, governor.
They don't care about that. That shit doesn't matter anymore. Michael.
They don't. But what I'm saying, it's not going to stop her.
Oh no, it's not going to stop her.
Getting in the lane. That's all.
But I feel like she's in the same lane as Mike Pence. Like they don't like you anymore. You
Pompeo, same thing. Same thing.
Right. They're all going to be on the.
I mean, the 24 election is only about two people on the Republican side.
Yeah,
and that's
DeSantis and Trump. That's exactly right. That is exactly right.
And right now, DeSantis is probably just planning on staying governor because Trump. I don't see Trump ceding that ground unless health or jail does it for him.
Right. That's going to be that is what I'm watching. That is going to be very interesting. No one else in the Republican primary is going to matter. God bless Larry Hogan if he's going to try and jump in, and Chris Christie can fuck off. Okay. But the rest of them, they can forget it. It's not going to matter.
Right.
One last thing I want to talk about with the primaries, because it's just so juicy. And what's happening with the Senate races. I know you saw that the NRSC pulled back millions of dollars in ads in a couple of places like Pennsylvania, Georgia, and a couple of other places. But I want to talk about Pennsylvania in particular, because I know you, like me, have been watching this whole trolling effort, brilliant trolling by the Fetterman campaign with Dr. Oz, right? Of course, me being from New Jersey, I don't want him either, but he is a New Jersey resident, really. This Oz. So this whole thing about him going back to New Jersey and Pennsylvania doesn't want him is brilliant. But the most recent thing, please tell me you saw him and this nonsense going to buy vegetables for crudité.
Okay, so first off, yes, I did. I watched that 3 times, actually.
I saw it.
I watched it 3 times because it was the most hilariously stupid thing I'd seen in a long time. First off, you don't go grocery shopping for vegetables without inspecting the vegetables. You don't just go grab a head of anything without looking at it to see if it's spoilage, if it's right, if it's enough. So he just grabbing this stuff up. Number one, I said, "You're so full of shit. You've never shopped a day in your damn life."
Right. He's worth over $100 million, by the way, folks. Just
thank
so you know.
you. You have not been in the grocery store squeezing tomatoes. Hasn't happened.
Oh my God.
This to me now. Make you trying to get me to believe that bullshit.
Well, how about this though, Michael?
But no, it gets sweeter, baby. Then he gets up to the salsa and he grabs the carton, the container of salsa, and he looks at it and goes, $6. That's a lot for this salsa. I'm like,
Michael, he didn't get the damn name of this grocery store right.
Well,
that's the first thing. I was like, what in the hell is a Wagner?
I just skipped over that part because it was too damn dumb to acknowledge.
Listen, this guy, for people who don't know, and we have, of course, we had to give it the Lincoln Project treatment, which I'll show you in a second. But just so for context, I was like, oh, he fucked up and called it Wegner's when he was in Wegmans. But I'm not from Pennsylvania. And apparently there is a store called Redner's in Pennsylvania. So he conflated and screwed up both names and called it Wegner's. So online, of course, the brilliance, once again, of the internet, they created an entire fake Wegner's Market account where they were making fun of this whole thing. And he's running around calling it crudité. They don't call it crudité in Pennsylvania. It's a vegetable plate with dip.
Thank you.
What are you doing, crudité?
It's a veggie plate.
Get the fuck out of here. They don't say that shit in Jersey either. I've got news for you. So I don't know what he's doing with this.
Some celery, some salsa, and a lot of beer.
On. So, of course, the Fetterman campaign has had a lot of fun with this, and so have we. And, of course, I want to make sure that we lighten it up a little bit with this. This is the Lincoln Project treatment.
Thought I'd do some grocery shopping. I'm at Wegner's, and my wife wants some vegetables for crudité, right? So here's the broccoli. That's $2. Not a ton of broccoli there. Here's some asparagus. That's $4. Yep. Carrots. That's $4 more. That's $10 of vegetables there. And then we need some guacamole. That's $4 more. And she loves salsa. Yeah, salsa there. $6. Must be a shortage of salsa. Guys, that's $20 for crudité, and this doesn't include the tequila. I mean, that's outrageous. We got Joe Biden to thank for this.
Y'all need to play that ish all over Pennsylvania.
I think that's the plan.
Because
it's going out there, at least digitally.
It just sums it up. And I'm glad you made the other point I was going to make, which is no one walks around the grocery store with their groceries in their hand.
Right. Where's your cart, you dumbass?
Or cart. So again, I go back to the first point. You've never been in a grocery store. Don't try to make us believe you have, because it's obvious you haven't.
This was just served up on a silver platter, almost Saturday Night Live worthy.
It really was. It really was.
Are you serious, buddy? Who told you to do this? Whoever did, fire them. Good grief. Anyway, Michael Steele, thank you for joining me tonight. Sure. It's always fun having Michael Steele after dark. We get to hang out. I do miss Wilson, but he'll be back on Thursday.
That's right. Give him my best.
I shall. Thank you, Michael. Talk to you later. You gotta love Michael Steele. It's always a good time with him. Well, that's it for our show tonight, folks. Like I said, the Rick Wilson will be back on Thursday. We'll have some more primary results by then, and we'll talk about it because I'm sure there'll be more fuckery by Thursday. Have a great night.